Hey resetters, welcome back to the Reset Circle. Hey y'all, we are at Tea Talk 2, guys. Yes, Tea Talk 2 of the new channel. So we will be talking about the conversation that changed my financial future. Okay, so we are going to be talking about that today, as I promised. And if you are new to the channel, my name is Faye, and in this space, we believe that no matter where you are in your life, it's never too late for a reset. Before we do get into this good story, I'm going to tell you about what tea I'm drinking. What would it be? What would a tea talk be without my tea? Okay? So, in today's tea talk, I am drinking soursop leaf tea. I'm drinking soursop leaf tea because it is a good, healthy choice for us, okay? And so not only are we making good, healthy choices for our body, we're also making good, healthy choices, in this case, for our finances. So that is my tea of the week for Tea Talk 2, soursop. And in the comments, let me know what are you drinking, whether it's tea, coffee, or whatever it is that you're drinking. Drop it in the comments and let me know. Okay, so starting with the story, I'll tell you. So in this tea talk, I would have never believed that this would have turned into a friendship and ongoing conversations with this guy. At this point, I never knew that this conversation would, open up my mind to talking about money, investments, or my financial future. I had no idea where this was going to go. Okay. Anyways, it started when I worked at a hospital. I used to work at a hospital, and this gentleman named Tom used to come by and clean our buildings. And we would just have these little, just little short conversations here and there. I guess, we were passing the time. And then, I just kind of went on like, oh, okay, it was nothing. It would just be a lot of just like surface level conversations. But it wasn't until one day when he made a statement that just like piqued my interest. Like, I was like, what did you just say? And Tom said to me, you know, we had started to talk a little bit about finances, and he was like, oh, I don't touch my check. I guess I had asked him a question about what he does with his paycheck or whatever. And he said, oh no, I invest all of my checks. I live off of my last year's earnings. So and I just was like, wait a minute, what did he say? Did he just tell me that he invests every single paycheck he gets and he lives off of last year's earnings? So once I clarified that with him, and he was like, yeah, I thought like, this can't be true. Hold on. And then that prompted me to just ask more questions. And that's when I started to get more deeper into getting the advice and information from Tom. Yeah, so as Tom started to tell me about the stock market and all of these different types of things, I realized I didn't know anything about the stock market at all. Like, I knew zero. And I was like, the only thing that I had learned from my family, or what people knew that was a little bit of a benefit, I had learned about savings. I would see my grandmother saving a little bit of money, and when times were tough, she would be like, oh, mama's little bag or whatever, or something like that, or the jar, or wherever we hid our little money or whatever for savings. That was the extent of what I knew about the stock market. It was like, you might as well have been talking a different language to me. Like, I really did not know anything. And it was kind of scary too. Like, as he started to talk about, you had to put a percentage of your paycheck in there, like, and all of that kind of stuff. Nobody in my family, nobody around me ever talked about the stock market. Like, I mean, we really just was clueless. So it really took a lot of my mind changing, a lot of proof. I actually needed proof because even as I started to try to talk to my family, like, hey, this guy is telling me about this and telling me about that, they were like, what? Put your money where? Like, you crazy girl. You know what I'm saying? So we just all was ignorant to how money really worked. You know what I'm saying? And how many of you guys can relate to that? How many of you guys have financial education and all that kind of stuff? We didn't, but we have to all give ourselves some grace because they wasn't raised with it, so they could not pass it down. But I'm just happy that there was someone there for me who felt generous enough to share this knowledge and who actually really wanted to help, right? So I will be right back in front of the whiteboard because I'm going to show you just a few things of what Tom told me about investing. I'll be right back. So yeah, guys, I am here at my little whiteboard here. And before we get into this, one thing that I do want to say is that I am really glad that I ended up listening to that advice that Tom gave me instead of thinking that I knew it all, like, or at least savings was good enough for me, and or just to kind of go with what I only knew and to push past my fear, because a lot of times it's the fear that holds us back. And that fear really can stop you from getting a lot of stuff in your life or, to actually even change your life in a positive way. But one thing that I do want to say, disclaimer, let me make sure that we make this disclaimer. I am not whatsoever any type of financial advisor. I am not teaching you the stock market or teaching you all that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you what Tom taught me, what he told me about, and I just decided to invest in it, and it worked out for me. So make sure, even if before you do any of this or try to follow any of this stuff, make sure you're going to be talking to your financial advisor, talking to people in your HR and your benefits department, and make sure you get a clear understanding of every single thing that I'm going to mention here before you decide to do anything, okay? Because just like with anything else, you want to make sure you understand it fully before you put anything anywhere, especially when it comes to your earnings, right? Because we work hard for our money. So hard for it, honey. Okay? All right, let me stop playing around. Okay. Okay, we gotta have some fun sometime. Okay, so anyways, the first thing, and this is my little board here, so hopefully you guys will still be able to see it. Let's put it over here a little bit. Okay. So the first thing that I'll mention, and the thing is that um we have a range of people who watch these channels, like from, I would say, maybe 30 and up. And so most of the people here that have already invested in these things already are aware of the retirement plans, all this kind of stuff, because I do understand that some of us here are already retired. So what I'm saying is a lot of folks will probably know it, but for those who don't know it, this can be helpful. So the first two plans that I will talk about are your retirement plans, okay? So there are retirement plans that some jobs offer to their employees. Not all jobs offer these plans, but there are a lot of jobs that do. And if you happen to work for a job that offers a retirement plan, it is a good option to think about investing in, okay? One of the first ones is a 401k plan. I'm sorry, guys, for keep having to move it back and forth, okay? All right. So the first one is a 401k plan, and then you also have a 403b plan. And let me go ahead and I want to give you the exact definitions of these plans, okay? So that you have the full exact definition of what they are. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so your 401. So your 401k plan is a retirement account that is usually offered through your employer. You choose to have money taken out of each paycheck before taxes, and that money is invested for retirement. Some employers even match part of what you contribute, which is one of the biggest benefits of your compensation. Okay, so basically, this is a retirement plan that you can invest in. Money is taken out of your paycheck, and some jobs match that money, which is a very good benefit because if you don't choose to, and also the thing is that there are different percentages with it. So you could either get 3%, anywhere from 3% all the way to 6%. And some jobs probably even more than that. It's just going to depend on what particular job you work at. And another version of that 401k is your 403b plan, which is also a retirement plan. It acts the same way. Money will be taken out of your paycheck. It will be matched. I actually have both, but at different jobs. So different jobs may offer different ones. Like, some jobs may have both, some jobs may just have one. That's what they go with. And then they go from there because they may deal with different type of brokerages accounts that run these accounts, which one of which could be Fidelity, the Fidelity brokerage account, or either TIAA Craft. That's another broker account that handles these type of accounts. Okay, so what you would do, the first thing that you're going to do is ask your employer, do they offer this? A lot of times on your onboarding, like once you're hired, you're officially hired, most people are onboarded, and then your benefits department is going to explain all the benefits that you have on your job. And if they mention retirement plans, usually these are in there. There's also another retirement plan called like the 486 or 9 or something like that. But that has to do with when people are actually ready to retire. I don't know exactly about that, and I was never involved in that. But there is another additional one for those people who are retiring. But I would ask your benefits department about that. Go to HR, talk to your benefits department, and they'll be able to tell you about that one. So but also with your retirement plans, these are long-term plans, guys. Long-term. They're long-term plans, and these are better started when you're younger. So the younger you can start, the better off you'll be, because the time that you're allowing yourself, the more time you have, is going to be the more time that the money can compound over time. So your money is going to be going into the stock market, like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100. So if you're able to have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in the stock market, you could start off with like whatever it is you're putting in. Say if you're putting $125 in a month, your job will match that 125, right? So now you're putting in what, 250 a month as opposed to 125. And if you have years of allowing it to compound, so now you can get to 5,000 and then 10,000 and then 15,000 and then 20,000. This is how it works. But in order for it to work that way, you need the longevity. So when you think of stock markets, when you think of this is long term, okay? And just like what is his name, the richest man in the world, Warren what is his name? I cannot believe I forgot. Let's see. Okay. The richest investor in the world is, I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. Who is the richest stock market investor in the world? What is his name? Him and his Warren Buffett. How can I forget Warren Buffett? So Warren Buffett says not only does he say pennies are for millionaires, he also says you will never be able to get rich on a job alone. It's just not going to happen. The only way that you are going to be able to accumulate money in the quickest way is to invest in the stock market. But this is up to each individual. But this has proven true. I have seen, now I'm not rich, but I am in a different place than where my parents and grandparents were. Um, because they never did invest and they didn't have this information. But with me having this information, just doing a little bit better, because when I started, I was afraid. I still had that fear. So I would be like 3%. When I'm like, well, how much can I invest? So they give you 3%, 4%, 5. My job offered up to 6%. I put only maybe 3%. And I think at my highest, I might have put 4.5%. And I was there 21 years. So imagine if I had started at 6% and kept it going for 21 years. Do you know, literally, people have become millionaires over time because the stock market compounded depending on how much money you put in. So you don't want to leave any money on the table, and that's what they call it, leaving money on the table. If your job matches you, you want to match it at the highest capacity if you can. If you can still cover your bills, all of your important bills, rents, utilities, all of that kind of stuff. Maybe you're in a 2-family income household and you use one income to pay all your bills and everything, and then the other person takes all of their money and invest in the stock market at the highest point, at the highest percentage. Oh man, you could really see a good difference if you do that. But make sure you do your own research, talk with your benefits department, and they will give you all the details about it. And trust me, it is worth investing. I mean, researching and looking into that part. I'll tell you, it is worth looking into. Okay, so the next section we have, okay, is your traditional IRA account, and then you have your Roth IRA account. So in the traditional IRA account, this is an account where you usually open up on your own. Now, some jobs actually do have a provision in their 401ks or 403b plans where you can also open up a traditional IRA account, but that's something as like an add-on. You would have to actually let them know, like, hey, I also want to add on this IRA plan, and then just have them explain it. But with the traditional IRA plan, which is different from the Roth, but what the traditional is, there are no taxes taken out into retirement. So whatever funds you put in the traditional IRA, no taxes are taken out. But when you retire and you want to take money out, taxes are taken out of that money. Okay, so the traditional, no taxes in the beginning, in the end, taxes are out. And then with your Roth IRA, it's a special individual account. You pay taxes in the beginning of your Roth. So whatever amount of money you put in that Roth is going to be taxed in the beginning. And then when you're ready to retire, or when you're able to take money out of these accounts, which usually is 59 and a half years old, there are no fees associated with taking money out of these accounts. But like I said, with the Roth, you don't pay taxes in the end. You pay them in the beginning, but then in the end you don't. Okay, as opposed to the traditional IRA. And like I was saying about the 59 and a half, with these accounts, any of these accounts, your retirement, your Roth, your IRAs, there are penalties associated with these accounts if you take money out before 59 and a half years old. So that's a big thing for you to remember. And depending on the state you live with, things are going to be different. So here in North Carolina, I would end up paying like a 20%. So say if I wanted to go take 1,000, 2,000 out, I would have to pay a 20% fee for taking this out before I turn 59 and a half. And then also I would have to pay a tax on it on top of it. North Carolina tax is a 4% tax. So it would be the fee plus the tax of your state. So you don't want to do that. That's a no-no. That if it's all possible that you do not have to take this money, you don't want to do that. You want to wait until the appropriate age, unless it's like a dire emergency and you have exhausted all of your options. Okay. The last thing that we're going to talk about are your high yield savings accounts. So these high yield savings accounts, it's a bank account that pays a higher interest than your normal bank account. So whenever you go to invest in these are something that's really great for like an emergency account. Like if your emergency account, you want to save at least 3 months to 6 months worth of funds, say in case if you lose your job, you got laid off, anything happens, it will be great to be able to establish an emergency fund in a high yield account. And some examples of this are Open Bank, which gives you an annual percentage rate of 3.8%. That's much higher than you're going to get at a regular bank account. You have Capital One 360 bank account. Currently, they're offering a 3.0%. SoFi Bank, they're offering a 3.80%, and Citibank offering 4.10% annual percentage rate returns. But, however, you must call these banks and speak to an agent representative to find out all of the details, all of the requirements for you to get that high rate, because usually you may have to have a direct deposit. Maybe your paycheck needs to go into there. You may need to establish that account with $1,000, with $5,000 in order for you to get that, or you may have to retain a certain amount of money in that account at all times in order to get that rate. So there are definitely stipulations in that. So while that is a great option to have to grow your money faster, and also most of these accounts, we all need money that's liquid. So even though it's great to invest money and all that kind of stuff, it's definitely great to do that. But you also need to always have money where you can get right to it. So you need to have liquid money, because emergencies do happen. And it ain't like if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. Because in life, as we all know, emergencies always pop up. So we definitely want to be prepared for that. It's great to, and I would actually go as far as to say, is to create your emergency fund first before you start investing, okay? Because you're gonna need that immediate money should something arise immediate, and especially like in the loss of a job, okay? All right, I will be back with the next section in a minute. Okay, resetters, so we are at the point in the video where we have a T-Talk question of the week. So the T-Talk question of the week is, what's one financial topic you've always wanted to understand better? Okay, so what is one financial topic you've always wanted to know better? I want you guys to put that in the comments, because we all can help and teach, or whatever it is that you know. If there's something that I haven't mentioned here that you know about, put it in the comments. Help one of your other resetters out, okay? Because I'm sitting here giving a little bit of what I know, but we are all sitting here in a reset circle because we are here to help each other. We family, y'all. So we need to help one another, okay? So I want y'all to ponder, think about that question, and make sure you put it below in the comments. Now, if this tea talk encouraged any of you, don't be afraid to ask any questions, because I certainly asked questions once Tom had told me about his check situation, because I really wanted to know more, and it really, really helped me out a lot. So definitely don't be afraid to do that. And even to this day, me asking those simple questions but important questions have literally continued to impact my life into 2026. Up to this day, I am still benefiting from the advice, literally from 2001, are still benefiting in 2026 from the advice of the guy. And I am just passing this information along for our community, or for whoever it is that is watching this video, because this is very, very it's helpful. It will allow you to grow financially, and if anything else, it will educate you. It will help you to learn just a little bit more about finances. It will help you to understand a little bit more, and it will allow you to grow. And I also want to say too, like I said, even though that it really is true that the earlier you start, the better, the more your money can compound. But don't think that all is lost. Remember, no matter what age you are, you're always able to reset. So whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, I don't care if you're in your 60s, if you're able to put your money in the stock market, you're still, I don't care if you made 43 cents in a day or two or a week, you still would have made more than that bank account would have gave you. I looked at one bank account that I set aside for a little something, just some quick money to grab. In a month's time, I earned 2 cents, 2 whole cents in a whole month. So no matter how you look at it, the stock market will always give you back more, okay? So with that said, that is all that I have today for you resetters. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed my story about my advisor Tom, and me taking that advice that changed my life to this day. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this video with people, because I really believe that they will get some impact and some knowledge from this video. And as always, resetters, I look forward to meeting you in the reset circle next time. And remember, for everyone, it is never too late for a reset. Thank you guys. Bye. See you next time.